In the beginning of the story, we are shown a desert, which is very desolate and no one can be seen far away. There is a bed in that desolate place on which a beautiful girl is sleeping. This scene was quite strange to see. And then we see a boy there who was coming close to that bed. And now he is about to reach that bed when he starts having a headache and everything gets blurred. And that boy sees a lot of strange things like the sounds of demons laughing in a very old big house, which was a ghostly house. And apart from this, he also sees a lot of strange scenes. And then suddenly that boy opens his eyes. And here we know that whatever he just saw was not real, but it was his dream. That boy's name is Thomas, who was a painter. Thomas had been seeing such scary dreams for many years. Thomas was fed up with these dreams, and he had even shown this to a psychologist. And even now he is sitting with a psychologist. That psychologist tells Thomas that you have a sleep disorder. Thomas tells the doctor that in the olden days, this thing was connected with a demon. That means it happens with a person only when a demon has controlled him or a demon is sitting on his body. Then that doctor tells him that these are all your mind imaginations and nothing else. Or you have a dream or a desire that was related to a girl and it has not been fulfilled. And that's why all this is happening to you. Before Thomas hears the next thing, he gets up from there and leaves. Thomas, who was sitting at one place, was painting. And then suddenly he sees something in the bushes. Before he can think of anything, he gets a call from a property agency. And he was being told that your uncle has given you some property before he died. When Thomas goes there, a property agent gives him the papers of that place, and the name of that place is Saffron Garden. And along with that, she also gives him that letter that his uncle had written for Thomas a while before he died. Thomas was quite surprised to see all this because he had never met his uncle and had never heard about him. When Thomas opens that envelope, he sees pictures of that property, that is, the Saffron Garden. And that property house looked exactly like that house, like that ghostly house that he had seen in his dream. And now he wanted to see this property. Thomas leaves from there and comes to his house. And when he comes home, he reads that letter of his uncle. It was written in that letter that I am very sad that I have never been able to meet you. And the reason behind our not meeting is my mother and grandmother. But maybe they did the right thing, because our family has been connected to the Saffron Garden for centuries. And the sad thing is that the males of the Saffron Garden are cursed. In that letter, it is not mentioned what kind of curse it was. And there are some rules that you must follow. And because you are the bloodline of the Saffron Garden, you can open any door there, that too with your blood. In giving that warning, it is written that there is also a place where you do not have to go. And that is the basement. You have to believe me. And that place is closed for your benefit. Thomas goes to the Saffron Garden. Now, because he did not have the keys, he breaks the door and goes inside. That house was giving a very creepy look, and it was very old. And there were skulls and dummies everywhere, which were looking very drowsy. When Thomas is exploring the house, he feels that there is someone who is keeping an eye on him. And when Thomas goes to the basement, he hears the sound of the door closing and turns. And he feels someone's presence there. But as soon as he looks, she disappears. When Thomas goes upstairs, he meets a girl there whose name is Linda, and she was a member of the same property agency. She also asked Thomas about his uncle's letter. Thomas found her words strange, because of which she apologizes to Thomas and leaves there. Thomas is sleeping, and he has a dream again, in which he sees that he has kidnapped the princess. Thomas tells the princess that this can't be a dream because all this seems real. The princess tells Thomas that my name is Rose, but I am also called Sleeping Beauty, and all this seems real to you. Because in the real world we have come very close to each other, and this is the reason that you woke me up in a dream. She says that I am waiting for you to come to me in the real world, and then she comes close to Thomas. And suddenly she gets scared and turns back. When Thomas turns back and looks, he gets very shocked, and she keeps requesting Thomas not to leave me. After this, Thomas wakes up from sleep, and he gets sleep paralysis again. Thomas tries to move himself, and then a demon comes to him in a blanket, and that demon is about to kill Thomas. Then Thomas's eyes open. That is, this was also a dream of Thomas. A bell rings at Thomas's door, and when he goes to see, there is a caretaker of that house, who came there to ask about the maintenance of that house. When Thomas asks about this house from that caretaker, Then he tells Thomas that this house is very strange, and a lot of people come here and disappear. The police checked this house many times, but they could not find anything. After that man leaves, Thomas explores the house again. Thomas finds an ancient door in the basement. Thomas tries a lot to open it, but that door could not be opened by him to know more about the Saffron Garden. Thomas goes to the admin office of that place. While checking the papers, Thomas finds a page on which something was written which Thomas could not understand. Whatever was written on that page, Thomas is trying to understand it. Then suddenly there is a pain in his stomach, and he gets an attack. Thomas is nervous and trembling, and he starts seeing the same scenes of his dream. And then suddenly Thomas becomes normal. Thomas goes to Linda and he says that what is written on this page, it is matching with your handwriting. So if you know anything about that house, then please tell me. Then Linda says that my brother went to that house, but he did not come back and disappeared, and almost 50+ people went to the Saffron Garden, but they did not come back, nor did they know where they went. Thomas says to Linda that I want to take your help. Now they are talking when Thomas gets an attack again. Linda takes Thomas to the hospital and the doctor says that Thomas has a panic attack. Thomas gets a dream again, in which he meets Princess Rose again. Rose tells him that you are the person with whom I am cursed, and she tells Thomas about a demon. Who gave Rose that curse? She says to Thomas that as long as this curse will remain, we will never meet in the real world. Rose gives Thomas a hint that your bloodline is the thing that will wake me up and will open all the doors of that house. She says that it is time for you to wake up, and now you should wake up. And by saying this, she disappears. Linda tells Thomas that you had a panic attack. But the strange thing is that when I took you to that property, you had become completely normal. Linda shows Thomas her brother's pictures. She says that he came here to complete a dare with his friend. But after that, he could not find out anything. He is missing since then, and I have come to this place to find my brother. She says that the history of the death of the Saffron family is very strange. The Saffron family has died due to male suicide and accidents, and the most surprising thing is that it is always heard about the death of males. She says that all this is connected to a supernatural power, which is doing all this. Thomas asks that there must be a way to escape this curse, and Linda says that Thomas's bloodline is responsible. After hearing this from Linda, Thomas remembers his uncle's bloodline, and he takes Linda to that ancient door. Linda also tries to open that door, but even with that, the door does not open. And Thomas takes out blood from his finger with a needle lying there, and with the bloody finger, he opens that door, and that door opens. Thomas and Linda both go inside. They find an ancient diary there, which is closed, and they open it. They did not understand what was written in that diary because it was in ancient language. And then they see that a dummy attacks them, and they come out of that place to save themselves. Then a car comes there, and Linda tells Thomas to sit in that car quickly. Now what happens in the car? Linda had called him there for her help, and he is Linda's friend and paranormal investigator. Linda comes to her house with Thomas and Richard, and she shows them a lot of pictures of the Saffron Gardens, because she knew about the Saffron Garden in detail. Seeing those pictures, the paranormal investigator Richard says, these spirits are usually called demons or devils, and some people believe them and some do not, and actually they live around us. Richard tells Thomas that you are linked to the Saffron Garden. Because of this, they can come in front of you in any form. Linda tells Richard that Thomas is connected to that property, so if he stays away from that property for a long time, he will be killed. Thomas, understanding Richard's words strangely, goes out of there, and he starts looking at that ancient diary alone. Seeing a picture, Thomas remembers something, and he comes back to Linda and Richard. He says that I am not connected to that property, but I am connected to Princess Rose. And he tells them about his dreams, and Princess Rose, he tells about Rose and her conversation, and says that when I came to this property for the first time, she opened her eyes for the first time. Thomas says that if we find Princess Rose and wake her up, then along with the spell, that curse will also end. Richard says that I do not understand the writing and language of this ancient diary. And he understands this, we should go to Linda's friend, and they go to Linda's friend. Actually, Linda's friend had a software, with the help of which he could convert any language into his language. The caretaker of that building comes to the Saffron Garden to meet Thomas. He starts looking for him, and then the same demon attacks him and kills him. When Thomas wakes up, he sees that some part of that ancient diary has been translated. While reading it, Linda tells Thomas that this is written by your uncle, in which he wrote that I am putting my family in such trouble, with which he may never be able to come back. Because I am going to sacrifice a bride in front of a devil. Thomas asks, what does it mean? Then Richard tells him that your uncle's connection was with that demon and that bride. When that diary is translated, he finds out that Princess Rose was a princess who was known for her beauty, whom a demon possessed and cursed, and because of a needle, she fell asleep in an immortal sleep. And Rose is still trapped by the devil. And if this is true, Rose is still alive. It was quite late for Thomas that he was away from his property, and he gets a panic attack. Then Linda and Richard take him back to the Saffron Garden. When they reach home, they find out that the caretaker of that building is now dead. Thomas takes Linda and Richard to the basement again, and again he opens the door with his blood. There is a tunnel inside which he opens the door. After going ahead, a devil attacks him, but Richard speaks magical words and that devil goes away, and now they had reached the place where they had to come, and he sees the same demon. Linda and Richard tell Thomas that we will distract that devil, and in the meantime, you go and wake up Princess Rose. And he does the same. And Thomas goes to the room where Princess Rose was imprisoned. Thomas comes to Princess Rose, but she still does not wake up. And then Thomas remembers his bloodline, and Thomas puts blood from his lips on Rose, and this time Rose wakes up. When Rose regains consciousness, she thanks Thomas, and she closes her eyes and comes to Thomas. But when she opens her eyes were completely black. A big secret is revealed here. And it happens that Princess Rose is no longer a princess, but she has also become a demon. Speaking in a demonic voice, she says to Thomas that you have awakened me, but now your game is over. And she does magic on Thomas with her finger, and he goes and bumps into the wall. Rose says to Thomas that I have thought a lot for you. Here the sad thing is that Thomas was struggling so much for the girl who he thought was his dream girl. She was not a dream girl, but she was a demon. Rose hears the voice of that demon outside, and she kills that demon and takes out his heart. Thomas was injured, and he comes out and says that Rose is a demon, kill her. Linda starts stabbing Rose, so Rose grabs her neck, and she is almost going to kill her. But she doesn't kill her. She leaves her Rose, taunts her, and says that I don't want you to die so soon, because I want to show you everything that I'm going to do. Then Rose takes a deep breath while looking at Thomas, and black smoke flies them both and takes them away. Then we see Linda's friend who is reading that diary by converting it into his language. And here he finds out about the curse of the Saffron family. Actually, the demon likes the blood of the Saffron family's male. That is, demons can only drink the blood of Saffron's male. And the identity of the Saffron family members is such that first they have scary dreams, then they hear the voices of demons, and there are panic attacks. And all that was happening with Thomas and Saffron's male has to take care that he never connects with any demon. And it is also written in it that the demon will use this curse to bring about the doomsday. That is when this world will end. Then we see that Rose comes to such a strange place with Thomas, which is quite far from the world. Using Thomas's blood and her power, Rose says some magical words and says that soon all the demons will wake up. And this whole world will end, and the doomsday will come. And with this spell, this movie ends here. Thanks for watching.